I don't participate in the national debate anymore because the one thing I've never heard anyone say is, I stand corrected. The only minds we have control over changing is our own. The very best we can hope with others is to inspire them. And the most effective way to inspire is with love, authenticity, and by creating in an environment where people are willing to listen to what you have to say. If you're tired of all the blame and political gridlock, if you're tired of waiting around hoping politicians will fix our broken financial system, if you're ready to take simple steps to make lasting change, you've come to the right place. Ready to be inspired? This is the Crowd Effect Podcast. I am your host, Paul Lovejoy, activist investment advisor at Stakeholder Enterprise. The other day, I was in the grocery store and some music came on the speakers there. And it was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which I'm a huge fan of. And I forget exactly what song it was, but I was grooving to it. I was nodding my head, and then I went down this aisle, and no one was on it, and I was really getting into it. I was kind of shaking, grooving around, moving my hands, and then some guy coming from the other side of the aisle sees me, and he's kind of looking at me like, "What is this guy doing?" Um, of course, I'm embarrassed, but I still kind of continue to get back into the song and move forward. And I had a similar experience, maybe I don't know, 8, 9 years ago, while I was in my car and good music came on, and I was just really feeling it. I was at a stoplight, and I look over, and there was these two I don't know, teenagers or so, and they were dying laughing, looking at me, and I felt so self conscious that I stopped dancing. So I'm pretty proud of myself recently, just in the grocery store, that I continue to do it. And really, this is because I've been practicing these two beliefs for the last 7 years. The first one is I believe I should care what other people think about me. That is a belief I hold. The other belief is that I believe that I shouldn't be afraid of what others think of me. And that is a big shift in um, my way of approaching life. Uh, because in the past, I would say things like, "Well, I don't care what they think," and it made me more of a cynical person, not very hopeful. And when I'm cynical and not hopeful, it's very hard for me to come up with solutions. But when I do care about what others think, but I'm not afraid of what others think, it gives me courage. It allows me to, yes, come up with solutions. I'm in a more positive frame of mind, but it gives me a courage to live the life I want to live and not feel like I should live up to the expectations of others. It's been a huge, huge. I have the courage now to speak in front of this camera and talk in front of this microphone, which that's something I would have never done, 10 years ago. So that is a belief that I practice. Um, the recent news story yesterday was this 6-year-old child who brought a gun to school and shot the teacher, and this happened a couple of years ago. Well, they're holding the parent of this child responsible for the shooting, and I feel like that seems like a very good thing, to hold starting to hold parents responsible. I know there's that those parents who gave their kid a gun for his birthday, and then he went ahead and shot people up with that gun. Those parents are being held responsible, and I almost feel like I think that's a really good trend. There was also recently these teenagers, 14, 15. There's a 12-year-old. I remember they, just this happened just recently. They marched him out and on camera with, his shirt off, and then the police chief was giving this kind of a lecture of a press conference. Um, I think their parents should be held responsible as well, and more so than the actual kids. Now, what does this has to do with fixing a broken financial system or any of that? Well, I think it's about taking responsibility. When you hear about these school shootings, um, uh, uh, there's a lot of blame going around, blaming guns, blaming the moral decay of society and the people responsible for that. Um, a- and so there no one's taking responsibility. I've never heard anybody say, when it comes to any school shootings or kids shooting other kids, that any no one's saying I'm responsible. No one's saying that. Now, when you're responsible, doesn't mean it's your fault. It's just taking responsibility for it. And when I'm blaming, there's no room in my head to come up with any solutions. It's kind of like this cynical thinking that I was talking about earlier. Um, there's no room, but when I'm responsible for something, that's all that's in the room of my head, that I have room in my head for, is solutions, because now I'm responsible for it. So I am taking responsibility for school shootings and for kids who shoot other kids, because that's the only way I'm going to come up with any solutions. Now, what solutions can I possibly have to stop this? Well, as an investment advisor, licensed investment advisor, and someone who is dedicating their life to fixing our broken financial system, I think there is something I could do. Um, Now, according to the 2020 survey by the American Psychological Association, the American Psychological Association, their 2020 survey uh, had reported that 64% of adult Americans have significant stress and for their finances. And that's the leading cause of their stress. They called it significant too. It's not just stress, but significant stress. And this is not a new thing. This is consistently fine. I mean, it's probably intuitive for a lot of people listening here. Um, we stress out over our finances. It's the biggest cause. So if we can create a world that has a financial system that's democratic and more equitable, then people would feel less stress. And you feeling a little less stress, maybe you're going to spend some more time with your kids. As a parent, I think the least that I could do is to make sure my kids don't shoot up a school or shoot another kid. I think that's bare minimum of of parenting. But at the same time, I have certain privilege where I'm not financially worried, and it frees me up not only to spend more time with my kids, but just to let people in on traffic. I don't need to speed up not to let somebody in. Smiling and saying hello, just these little things that help people out throughout their day. And it's just that, spreading the love concept. It feels better than to always trying to run for that scrap, not let someone in traffic, all these things, trying to teach other people lessons. Um, that's I just think that having less financial stress will increase societal happiness. Um, and maybe we could spend some more time with their kids, and and not have to worry about that. So that's how I'm taking responsibility for school shootings, is by dedicating my life into fixing our broken financial system. Um, so moving on to our financial tip of the day, which is diversification. I was speaking about it yesterday, and as a investment advisor that specializes in crowd investing, um, diversification through crowd investing is so easy to do and so wonderful at the same time. So, one class of crowd investing is crowd lending. Now, there are platforms where you can lend as little as $10 towards a loan. So, if someone's trying to get, a $20,000 loan, you could contribute $10 to that loan, along with uh, 1,999 other people contributing $10 to that loan. And if you have $1,000, you could be diversified into 100 different loans. Um, and the more you do it, the more diversified you get. This is, bank level diversification. When we're talking about this. And yes, defaults happen, but there's a statistical known. That's a statistical known. Um, you could you take a look at loan defaults. It's down to a science, and so it becomes now more predictable what your investment income is going to be. So diversification is such a wonderful tool, and with crowd investing, it's so easy to achieve. And also when you're crowd lending, you're engaging in these private loans, and you're getting really good market returns on this. Anywhere from 6 to 14%. It's just an incredible time that we're living in to be able to so easily, and this $10 minimum. Well, anybody with $10 in a bank account can get involved in this. So it's a way, by promoting this, it's a way to make our financial system more equitable. It's also democratic because it's not just one bank loaning the money to that one individual, or loaning to a project that is, not helpful, that is exploitative. And there's this concentration of power when you have just a single bank loaning that money. But when it's spread out and diversified, it's with crowd lending, it's so much more democratized, because we all get a say in who gets funding. Because a lot of times banks overlook people who have gotten who aren't getting funded. So it's just a great way to mitigate risk. Um, Huge fan of crowd lending. So that's it for today. My name is Paul Lovejoy. I am a crowd investor, and I see you are one too. If you'd like to know how to fix our broken financial system democratically without protesting or divisive political action, go to stakeholderenterprise.com.